Ever sat in a group of people who are gossiping about an individual they don't like, or how that certain individual dresses funny, or perhaps even talking about something that individual did? As your mind traces back to your encounter with that person, all you remember is a humorous, friendly person that you clicked with very easily. But as all eyes turn to you for your 2 cents of negative opinion, your mind suddenly forgets its independency as you blurt out in agreement to those around you. Well, if you've ever experienced this, you've been riding on the conformity train. So what is conformity? When individuals conform to those around them, majority of the time it is unconscious. People don't realize they're conforming. Conformity is when you behave similarly to those around you. This can include dressing like others, talking like others, and as well as engaging in activities that others are doing. Conformity can also be intended as a way to fit in. This is referred to as normative social influence. To further visualize this concept, let's look at the famous ash line experiment. In this experiment, a group of individuals were shown 2 cards, both with lines on it. The task was to determine which line on the first card corresponded with the line on the second card. All of the individuals in this experiment, except for one, were working for ash. Thus were ordered to give the wrong answers at some point. The answers were obvious, however, those who answered incorrectly showed results of group pressure and conformity. Just over 1/3 of times, people conform. As the number of opponents increases, the rate of conformity increases. Conformity decreases by 10% if even one dissenter is present. Now let's say you were copying those around you because you were obligated to do so. When you are ordered to do something from a person in authority, it is called obedience. To visualize this concept, let's look at Milgram's electric shock experiment. Stanley Milgram conducted this experiment to investigate the explanation given by the Germans for the Nazi killings in World War II, which was simply, "I was just following orders." An advertisement was published in the newspaper seeking male participants to take part in a study. Once the participants had been selected, they were paired with one of Milgram's confederates. Of course, they weren't aware of this. Straws were drawn in which one would be selected as a learner and one as a teacher. As the draw was fixed, the participant was always the teacher and the person working for Milgram was always the learner. The learner was taken into a room and had electrodes attached to his arms, and the teacher and researcher went into a room next door that contained an electric shock generator and a row of switches marked from 15 volts to 375 volts to 450 volts. The learner was then tested by the teacher on a number of questions. Every time the learner made a mistake, the teacher was to carry out an electric shock, increasing the level of shock each time. The end result? 65% of participants continued to the highest level of 450 volts. A factor contributing to this result is distance, as the distance between an individual and a person in authority determines the rate of obedience. So there we have it. Conformity as compliance to standards, and obedience as compliance to authority.